Hello, this is Steve from Beto's Leatherworks. And today's project is we've got a couple of pairs of shell Cordovan Alden shoes. Now these have seen better days. They've been repaired a few times, and somebody did a really bad job, unfortunately. You know, I love this industry, but there are people out there who just, you know, shouldn't be in the business or should take the time to do a little better job. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to completely do a full sole and heel. We're going to remove the welt, replace that, condition the uppers, and try to straighten these out a little bit, give them some shape, and give it some new life. All right, so let's get started. So basically we're just going to completely take the shoe apart. And look at this. Look at these nails. At least get them in a nice order, you know. Unbelievable. It's a machine that basically nails these. They're random. I mean, it wasn't even holding on anything, for Christ's sake. Oh Lord. Shame these shoes were nice at one point. But we're gonna bring them back, no worries. There's more nails. Look at these. Unbelievable how many times they nailed it. I mean, I nail them also, but I mean that's unnecessary. How many nails they have in there? So here we're just removing completely the welt and the sole together. Usually I remove the sole first and then the welt, but there's nothing salvaging these shoes except for the uppers. You know, the good thing about Alden shoes is it's got a strong shank in there, and that's still in good shape, which is a good thing. We'll reuse that. Something we'll reuse from the shoe. We've got a tear on the side here, which we're going to have to take care of. Jesus Christ, man. Wow. All right. There should be cork in here, and obviously the person who did it didn't put cork in there. Some sort of a foam, which is okay, I guess, but should have foam. I mean, it should have a cork. Yep, these are in pretty bad shape, man. Wow. Well, we're going to bring them back. All right, let's continue. Well, wouldn't you know it? It seems like things really fell apart after I took the sole off. Now, this piece here, this is called a gemming, right? Now, basically, that is glued to the footbed like that. Okay. Then the uppers come in. The welt comes in and everything is stitched together. Well, there's nothing there to stitch anymore. Look at this thing. This has been abused and abused some more. So at this stage, it's really best to have a last to redo these, but it's not really necessary. It's a little bit more difficult to do without a last, but we're going to try to retain the shape after it gets done, and keep that form, so it goes back to fitting the customer's feet again. So now this became a total reconstruction, I should say. But it's okay. It is what it is. Must continue. All right, let's continue. Now this one, this shell, the Cordovan color one, seems to be in better shape than the black pair. And you got to be careful when you're doing this. You don't cut the uppers. What I'm doing now is just basically cutting the welt off. And most of the time when we repair shoes, obviously we don't cut the welt off. We retain that welt. The welt is that little thin leather piece, for those of you who don't know. This is the piece, basically. It's stitched on the side. This is what we're going to replace it with. The reason I'm taking it off is just because it's in such a bad shape that there's no salvaging it. I mean, whoever did this stitched it. There's 3 stitches right there. That's the stitch that holds the sole onto the welt, like that. So when you resole shoes, you have to remove the old stitches and then restitch again. Try to get into the same holes of the old stitches. This one, they didn't even give a damn. They're just piled on top of each other. And when that happens, when you do that, unfortunately, there's not really much you can do to salvage the old welt. It just, because it just gets to a point where it needs to be replaced, like in this case. Now again, there's tons of nails everywhere. Now the manufacturer does put nails when they're making the shoe, but this is aftermarket nails. This is just crazy, man. And this is all the nails that I removed from the heel. And we still have this. So let's remove that too. Now you can see here, this is in much better shape than the black pair. You see the gemming is still intact. So we're not going to take that apart. We're going to keep that there. On the black pair, we're going to have to replace that gemming on there, because there was just no way of salvaging that. So this is in not too bad shape. I know it looks pretty beat up, but once it gets done, it's going to look really nice. We'll bring this back. You'll be amazed at what they'll look like. Oh darn, I forgot to take pictures. Alright, I'm going to take pictures now at this stage. I always do that. I always forget to take pictures beforehand. Alright, anyway, let's continue. Now when they're in this condition, I try to oil them down with a little bit of some moisturizers to soften that up. And lately I've been trying this guy right here. Now, I don't really recommend this on a daily use for shell Cordovan. This is just basically when they're in this bad shape, just to bring these back. They're like a petroleum base, but I'm going to add this on there, let it sit, and come back and remove if there's, some access on there. So far, I've done it on a few pairs, and it's brought it back pretty good, actually. Now, there's a lot more to be done than just applying this on here. So, do I really recommend this on a daily, care for shell Cordovan leather? I don't think so. I think when you're really something this drastic, if it's in this bad shape, trying to bring it back, maybe, but that's about it. But this stuff is great for smooth leathers. Now, again, you don't have to put too much on there, right? It really hydrates the leather and moisturizes it. Now, anytime you're using a new product that you're not familiar with, don't just go out and buy it and start caking it on there, okay? You gotta try it on a small area before you do anything. Just like with any product that you're using on leather. Always try it on a small area. Test it out first. See how it reacts, because not all leathers are tanned the same way, and you're going to get a little different reaction to the cleaners and to the moisturizers, the water repellent sprays. Anything you're going to do, always need to test it out. We're going to let this sit here for a day or two and see if it's kind of given some shape to the shoe. Let's massage these little the creases and see if I can kind of get those creases to soften up a little bit, to relax and not so much, not so visible. A good shoe tree always helps. I mean, it's starting to look fairly decent, much better than what it was. So as you can see, a little bit of TLC will bring these leathers back very well. All right, let's continue. Man, look at this stuff. It's like a bomb went off or something. Unbelievable. Well, some of you guys are asking about my dog. Zeus! Come here. Come. Come on. Come up here. Come here. Come. Yeah. There's Zeus. Look in the camera. He's keeping me company today. Alright, let's continue. Alright, so at this stage, I cleaned the uppers, I added some color to it, conditioned it. That's not quite done yet, but once we finish with the welt, the sole, we'll go ahead and final cream, Cordovan cream, and then maybe some conditioners on top and a little bit of wax just to give it some luster. Not too much, just a little bit, just to give it some shine. Now, this piece here, I'm going to glue right there, okay? And then I'm going to stitch the welt together like that. Basically what this piece does, it keeps the uppers together. So if this piece wasn't there, this is the gemming. Remember on the black pair that was completely gone. So if that comes loose from the footbed, and then the size of the shoe will change. This is basically just like a second piece to keep everything together. It's like a bridge between the upper, the footbed, and the other side of the upper, so this doesn't go anywhere. Okay? Now, this is the welt that we're going to stitch on there. I'm going to wet these so it'll be a little easier to kind of shape it to the shoe. What I decided to put the black pair on hold while I finish this one, because that's going to require a little bit more work, unfortunately. But I will finish this and I'll show you guys what it looks like afterwards. Alright, so I'm going to speed things up a little bit now while I stitch the welt on. Alright, let's continue. Alright, so we're going to continue this job by stitching the welt on there. Now I rolled up the welt and put it in a glass of water just to soften the leather. Sometimes I spray it a little bit to wet it while I'm stitching it. I mean, if I have time for it to dry, I'll soak it in water and let it sit overnight after it dries. So basically, we're gonna stitch this just like that, and this is called a welt. And the sole, when it comes on top, it stitches to the welt. Now this stitch is going to hold the uppers, the footbed, and the welt all together. This is the traditional Goodyear constructed welt. This is a nylon, wax nylon thread. Now if you see here, see all the original holes? So we're going to basically stitch it in the same holes. Now I'm going to show you guys a couple of stitches, and then I'm going to speed things up because this will take a while. I don't want you guys to sit here and watch me stitch the welt on. Kind of boring, actually. I mean, it's not boring for me. I like it. I enjoy it, but for you guys, it's just kind of just watching it. I've got a piece of leather here on my finger because when I pull the thread, you don't want to damage your fingers because you're doing a lot of stitching, and after a while you're gonna damage your finger, your skin. Basically, it's very simple actually when you think about it. This is a hook needle. We call it a jerk needle also. It goes in through the hole, grabs this side of the stitch, pulls it out, and the other one will go through. And then you pull it tight. So basically it's doing one of these numbers, right? And the knot should be right in the center there. Actually, you know what? I've got this on the wrong finger. Wrong hand, I should say. How did I do that? Guess I haven't had my coffee yet. So on this side, I grab it and pull it with my pinky right there. And on this side, I wrap it around the handle and pull it from the handle. And it's nice and tight. It's not going anywhere. Just like that. Okay, so we'll speed this up a little bit. All right, let's continue. All right, got one shoe done. Now once you stitch it on there, just flatten that down. Now we'll just let this set a little bit dry. That's taking shape. We'll continue with the back piece, the shank and the cork, and the sole will come on. All right, let's continue. All right, so we're back to the black bear. Now, this is the footbed that you step on, right? See the foot impression? That piece here is called gemming, which was totally destroyed. That's what keeps the uppers, the welt, all stitched together. So we're going to put a new gemming piece on here, which I've got a roll of right here. So basically this is just a piece of canvas with a fiberboard center. Okay. Let's see if I can get a little close here for you. This is glued just like that. Okay. And then the uppers come in just like that. And a welt comes here and it stitches together just like we did on the other one. Which is... And that piece is just the reinforcement piece that kind of bridges those two together, so the gimming is right underneath right there. Now, most people don't even do this. Most people don't even know how to do this. I mean, I'm not tooting my own horn, but I'm just saying that most jobs that are this level, people will say can't be done, or they don't want to mess with it because it takes so long. Now, when I took this job in, I didn't know it was going to be in this condition. But, I mean, it's apart now. I can't call the guy and say, hey, man, your shoes are apart, it's going to cost more money. Now, this was a over $400 job. And, I mean, this is a lot more work than I had entailed. I knew the welt was bad, but not the structure. I mean, it's almost impossible to know that the structure is bad without even, without taking it apart. I mean, realistically, can I call him and say, hey, you know what, unfortunately, after we took it apart, it was a lot more work, and, maybe it's not worth it, and give him his money back? Yeah, it's a possibility to do that, but I don't really want to do that, I mean, it can be done. Now, it would be best at this stage to have a wooden last, like, hold on, let me get one. This is a wooden last. This is the shape of the foot, basically. That's what they use to make new shoes. Because you're completely disassembling the shoe, and you're going to try to put it back exactly where it was, how it was. Now, after everything is said and done, even if you do repair it in the same spot that he had it, which I'm going to do, you're still going to have to break in the shoes. Now, these are going to be, they're going to be like new shoes almost. It's going to feel different when you first wear them, because you've completely disassembled it. You put new welt on, new footbed. New welt, new gemming, new soles, new cork. So it's almost like a new shoe. You're going to have to break that in. And we tell customers that usually, hey, when the job gets done, it's not going to feel like it was worn out, holes in the soles, It's going to feel a little different, which is normal. You're going to have to go through the break-in period. It's very normal to do that. So, most of the time it works out pretty good. But this repair is on another level. Even for me, I mean, it's a lot of work, which I find it challenging. It's a funny story. One of my friends, well, colleague, whatever you want to call him, he has a shop. I believe it was maybe in Canada. I don't recall where his shop is. He said he had a long day, and he was just overwhelmed with the shop. Customer comes in. He quotes him a price for doing soles and heels. The customer thinks it's a little bit too high, and the customer leaves. And my friend was kind of feeling a little down. And a couple of hours later, same customer shows up, said, I'd like for you to do the soles. These are the same shoes, and the same price that my friend offered it to him to repair. And my friend, he was kind of puzzled. He's like, well, what happened? Why did you have a change of heart? The customer said he went home and he watched one of my videos, and he didn't realize how much work was into it, repairing shoes. And of course, my prices are higher than what on normal repairs, because what I do is a little different. And the guy's like, I want you to repair my shoes, you know? So it's kind of cool. The customer watched one of my videos and decided to go back to my friend's shop and and to do the repair. I mean, that's so cool. You reach so many people with these videos. I think it's really cool that happened. And he shared that story with one of my with one of the groups that I belong to, one of the repair groups. I think that's kind of cool that I'm kind of my videos are kind of helping some people out, which is great. I mean, I never thought. I mean, that's not what I was making the videos for, but it's awesome that it kind of reached that, you know, reached this people way way up there in Canada somewhere. I think it was Canada. I don't know where it was. So it's kind of cool. These scissors are great scissors, but man, they need to be sharpened. Cheap $5 scissors are working better than that big, beautiful scissors. I'm just giving it some relief cut so it'll curve a little better. Alright, enough of this. We'll talk. Let's continue. Alright, so as you can see, it's, you know, it hasn't lost its shape. It looks pretty good actually. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to just put some small stitches right here without the welt, okay, just to keep it in shape. I'm going to wet the uppers and I'm going to massage these wrinkles out and try to straighten that out like I did on this one. Remember, this was you know, worse than that with the wrinkles. That's looking so much better. So that's the next step on these. And once that dries, we'll leave that to dry while we work on the other pair. All right, let's continue. So this is not glass cleaner. This is rubbing alcohol and water mixed together. Now, the creases will always come back. Will always come back when you wear them. Okay? This is just kind of softening the leather up a little bit to just kind of massage those wrinkles out. Kind of roll it a little bit the opposite of the wrinkles were, you know, horizontal. You're rolling it like, you know, vertical. Now, I know it looks like crap now, but man, it's gonna look so nice once it gets done. I mean, it's looking straighter already, you know. So we use this rubbing alcohol and water mix to stretch shoes. Basically what it does, it softens the leather to so it'll stretch. Once it's stretched, you know, it's more comfortable. Well, when we're stretching shoes to fit, because sometimes you'll have shoes that you buy, it's not exactly same shape as your foot. It wasn't custom made for you, so it's going to feel a little different, right? So that's when you take it to your local cobbler, let them know what areas are tight, and they'll wet the leather and they'll put in a stretcher. If you have like bunions or stuff like that, You know, they can pinpoint the spot where your big toes or your little pinky toes are, and they can put a pad on the stretcher basically to bump out that spot a little bit more so your toes don't rub against that spot. Most people don't know the shoes can be stretched, and they go through painful break-in period while it can be stretched very easily. I mean, we charge 12 to, depending on what we're stretching. Some of the boot shafts are a little bit more money, anywhere from $12 to like $80. Normal stretchers are like $12. Sometimes it gets a little bit more complicated, and we'll charge more for that. So as you see, I'm just kind of stitching it together to keep that shape while I have it in the shoe trees. I'm going to let it sit and it'll dry. These are temporary stitches. They're not going to stay there. They'll be removed as I'm stitching the welt on. This is just to keep the shoes in shape. Now, at this stage of the manufacturers, what they do is they'll staple it. Okay, they're not like regular staples. They're small little metal staples where the uppers stay tight to the gemming while it's getting ready to be, the welt's getting ready to be stitched on. And we don't have those kinds of machines that manufacturers do. We're not manufacturers, we're just cobblers. So we just kind of improvise like I'm doing now. We still have to put that piece in the middle. Remember like the other one we did with the stripe, blue stripe? That was a canvas, by the way. Cool. We'll put a couple more and insert the shoe tree in. Alright, let's continue. Now with shell Cordovan, okay, they use deer bone basically to rub out the wrinkles. This is not a deer bone. I believe this is a cow bone or a lamb, sheep. Now they do sell these bones on the Amazon or some of the shoe supply sites. But I mean, you can go to your local butcher and grab a leg bone, and you have to clean the stuff off of it, of course, and boil it maybe to get all the stuff off. But it's free. Now, unfortunately, this one, my dog got a hold of it and he put a crack in it. Zeus, my buddy. You see that crack right there? Yeah, right there. I grabbed it just in time before he broke it in half. He thought it was just a bone, laying around. So most shell Cordovans, you can do this, and they're called rolls. Really, they're not really called wrinkles, because shell Cordovan leather does not wrinkle. It just kind of rolls. That's what they call it. I mean, I call it wrinkles. It's just wrinkles. It's no big deal. Rolls, wrinkles, same thing. So some people, will do that. Now, you can use the back of a spoon also. I have a spoon here somewhere. Here we go. You can, make sure it's smooth, because you don't want to scratch the leather. So you can do this right here. This will soften it up a little bit too. Sometimes you can heat it a little bit. Not all colors, like the lighter shell colors, the whiskey and the cigar color. If you heat it, you might damage it it'll darken up. So you got to be careful. So you can do this as a home remedy to straighten those out. Now again, we're going to let this dry, okay? We still haven't cleaned the surface yet. We're just kind of straightening it out right now. And once everything is as straight as possible, we're going to clean the surface and apply some dye to it to give it some life. Now you got to be careful, you don't want to damage anything, okay? This leather is tough, but it's still leather. Alright, and that's it. We're going to leave this like this, and we'll do the other one now. Alright, let's continue. Alright, so this is pretty much dried pretty good. It's got a nice shape to it now. It's starting to look like a shoe. So what we're going to do now, we're going to clean the surface. This is a turpentine that I'm using. Basically, we're just going to wipe it down to take the excess polish off, whatever's left of it on the surface. It looks pretty good. I mean, look at all the wrinkles are gone. But again, now, by wrinkles, some people make a big issue of it. It'll come back. But if you maintain the shoes, like if you put them in shoe trees afterwards, after you wear them, and it'll retain its shape pretty good. It won't be brand new looking. I mean, look at all that coming off already. See that black? That's a good sign. We're going to apply a coat of black dye. Phoebe's professional dye. It's like an oil dye. They do have some that's alcohol based, but that tends to dry it out a little bit, and I like to use the oil dye. Now this dries pretty well, pretty fast, so we don't have to wait too long for it to for the surface to dry. So once I'm done with the second one, we'll be ready to add some color to the first one. I'm getting a lot of comments on my videos, and I think it's so cool. You know, I really appreciate it. Majority of them are positive comments, and I'm so thankful of you guys. I would have never thought that, you know, me doing videos, people would actually watch and interact with me through the comments section. It's just mind-blowing to me, you know. I'm just doing what I love to do, and I'd love to share it with you guys. And it seems to be, you know, people are liking it, which is really cool. So thank you for all the comments. Even the quirky ones. I don't know which one's quirky, but you know who you are. So yes, I'm wearing gloves today. You know why? Because I'm going out tomorrow night, and I don't want to have dirty hands. Not that there's anything wrong with dirty hands, but you know, sometimes you gotta look good, man. And I tend to clean up pretty well if I want to. So this is all we're doing now. Applying some color to it. Man, this leather is very dry. After this, I'm going to apply some conditioners to it to moisturize it. Some people do it beforehand. Some people do it, like when I say before, like before applying color to it. They'll clean the surface, and then they'll apply conditioners, and then they'll add their creams or dyes or whatever they're doing. I've done both ways, you know. I tend to think that if it's in this stage, it absorbs the dyes, you know, better. But I think if you condition it, you need to let it dry. You know, you need to let it kind of settle in before you apply any color or dyes to it. So either way will work. I just happen to be doing this way. Cool. It's taking shape. I can't wait to be done with these. Now, I know in like the middle of the video I said I'm going to leave the black ones alone, but I just couldn't. You know, and the problem is, though, with me, if I leave it alone, and there are so many other jobs waiting to get done, this might just stay aside, you know. I just thought about it, you know, after I made that comment. I'm like, you know, I got to finish this. Because if I don't, it's just gonna sit longer, and I don't want it to linger around. I want to get it done. We all have those projects that just kind of sit around and collect dust, and I didn't want that to be one of, you know, I didn't want that to be this one. Well, I was going to do a lot more to the shoe than I am. That's why that thought, you know, the thinking that I'll leave it and then I'll come back to it, but I decided not to do what I was going to do, which was complete disassembly and replacing the top French binding here. I chose not to do that. I mean, I was never going to do that to begin with, you know. So, all right, let's continue. Now, I buffed that out. Okay, when you use Phoebe's dye, when it dries, it takes this. There's like a hue on the surface, right? And you have to buff that. It's like it makes it like a matte, dull color. So you have to buff that, and then once you buff it, the shine comes up a little bit. Now I'm applying some Venetian shoe cream, which the Horween Leather Company, Horween being that the horse hide, which is this, the leather company, they recommend that for their leathers. But I think that if you have some leather conditioners, it should be okay, as long as you're applying some creams to it to moisturize the surface. You can use most conditioners, but I like this one. This works pretty well. Now I'm just rubbing it in. I did this one, and I'm going to buff this real quick. Now it'll go through a couple of coats of this for it to really, you know, take. But you can see, I mean, it's looking so much better than what it was before. Now black is an easy color to do. You know, these are some of the number 8 colors, or navy. Those are harder to kind of bring back. You know, black is black. You know, it's not that difficult. It's not as difficult. All right, let's continue. Now this one, there's a piece right here. There's a name for this piece. It's not rand. I can't think of the damn name. But anyway, sometimes manufacturers will use fiberboard, rubber, plastic. This is leather, obviously. I use this for a lady's sole, right? But this will work pretty good for the back of the heel right there. So once we put this on here, we'll put the shank, fill that in, then we can do the leather sole, and then we're gonna start finishing these up. Can't wait to get these done. So, all right, let's continue. What time is it? It's hammer time. So for those of you might bother your ears, you better plug up. Oh, I forgot to mention it to you guys. Remember last time I was saying about the hammering and that hammer guy that wanted the sound to be turned down? Well, he made another comment. Well, not much of a comment. He gave me his middle finger. He gave the middle finger to me. Oh, shit. And I replied back, that's not very nice. Oh my God, that's so funny. Sometimes you gotta laugh at things. Alright, we're done with the hammering. Let's continue. Alright, so we're at this stage where we've got the sole glued on. Now we're going to give it some shape. Basically just sanding these edges right here. Giving it some shape, what it's supposed to be. See the difference here? Let's see if I can show you guys the difference. See how wide this one is? So once that gets trimmed around the edges, we're going to open up a channel, stitch it. We're going to put our heel base on, put our top lift, clean and polish again, and we're done with this job. Alright, let's continue. So at this stage, there's no going back. You've got to be really careful when you're sanding this to give it shape. You don't sand too much, because if you sand too much from the welt, you're done. I mean, it's going to ruin the whole job. So this is a very critical part of the job where you've got to take your time and make sure you've got the right shape. Always measure against each other. This one I'm finished with it, and kind of look at it. This one's a little bit pointier than this is more rounded. So you got to kind of balance both of them, make sure that they match. Same width, same length. So when you're done with it, it looks identical. Alright, let's continue. Now once we got the shape ready, we're going to open up a channel. So to countersink the stitches. Alright. I'm going to clean the channel. this is just a creaser. It's just taking the edge off the channel. Just makes it look a little better. Nothing structural, just for aesthetics reasons. That's it. Alright, now she's ready for stitching. Alright. This is an outsole stitcher. Basically it stitches the outside. I'm going to put red thread on there for today. Alright. You gonna see that? Well, maybe I should go a little bit higher, but okay, let's try it like that. Now this is the stitch. In the beginning of the video I was explaining to you guys I had 3 rows of stitches, right? So whenever you're putting a sole on, you have to stitch it on there, right? But unfortunately some people don't remove the old stitches, and then you've got 3 layers of stitches on the welt. So now you've got a nice single row of stitches on there, like it should be, just like if it was a brand new shoe. Now we hammered that down. Close your ears. Hammer time. Alright. It's looking good. Beautiful. Now we're going to trim the edges, finish the edges, burnish them, finish the bottom, put the heel on. She is done. Alright, let's continue. So the bottom staining I normally do is just for aesthetics. It's not really for any structural reasons. I just like to do some designs, but this one we're going to do red, like a dark red. Now once this gets dyed, we're going to buff it to give it a nice shine. Now the better you prep the surface of the leather, this JR leather is phenomenal leather, by the way. One of my favorites. The better you prep the surface with a fine sandpaper, the better results you're going to get. Alright? Once it's at this stage, the leather is nice and warm. So I'm buffing it, and now I can put my pattern on there. Yeah, Mark.
Rubber heels, French tip.
It's going to be 65 plus 45. I'm not going to build up that. Again, this is just a pattern I'm putting on. Just gives it a nice finished look. Now this is a bunk wheel. Well, it started out something else and I made it into a bunk wheel. Now, you know, when at the end, when I finish, I'll put a little bit of wax on it to give it a nicer shine. But you see, I mean, it turned out real nice. We still have to condition the uppers and make that work. And then now we can go ahead and score the heel area. Put the heel on there. Oh, I think I call this a creaser. I think this is an edger, not a creaser. Sorry. I'm learning. All right, let's continue. Okay. Secure the heel on. Now we nail it from the inside. Ring shank nails, or we call these threaded nails. Same thing. This is not going anywhere once it gets done. This shoe is solid. Way, way solid. More solid than when it was new. Man, what a big transformation it went through. I hope the guy's going to be happy. I mean, I think he'll be happy, right? I mean, God, who wouldn't be happy? After, I'm going to send him the video. Now, everybody wants the customer's reaction, you know, with jobs, and unfortunately, some jobs are mailed in. This particular wasn't, but I don't know when the customer is going to come pick it up. I mean, we call them, let them know that their items are ready. But I can't wait to finish the video. Maybe I'll do a separate video just with his reaction. Yeah, that's it. That's the ticket. That's what we'll do. Well, I'm going to try to anyway. Maybe the guy doesn't want to be on camera. Who knows? Alright. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 nails in there. That heel's not going anywhere. I'm going to trim it, polish it, condition the uppers, and we are done. And put some red on the heel too. Alright, we're at the last leg of the job. Now, I like putting brass nails on the heels. I think it looks pretty cool. And sometimes I do different designs. Sometimes I do them all in a row. This one we're going to do a set of 3. Well, I was going to work late tonight, but I just texted my wife, told her I'm going to be late. She's like, dinner's ready at the table. Oh man, so I guess this is going to have to wait till tomorrow. Anyway, you get the idea here. I really wanted to finish this. But you know what? Family comes first. So we'll have to start. I'll have to start again tomorrow. On my way.
Did you accidentally summon me?
No. Oh boy. On my way. Alright guys, I'll continue this tomorrow. I was hoping to download the video tonight for you, but you know what? Family comes first. This is going to have to wait. No big deal. Alright, we'll see you again. Let's continue. All right, welcome back. So we're done with this project. Now this was a quite a bit of a chore. Almost like new pairs of shoes. These little papers I wrapped around the tassels to keep the shape to it. We wet the tassel down, and then once it dries, we remove the paper, and it's got a nice shape to it, almost like new. Oh well, as you can see, I got my hands dirty, so I got to clean them up before I go out tonight. I know the glove tore, and unfortunately. Oh, you think I forgot about the black pair, huh? Well, guess what? That one's done too. I think this was a little worse shape than the other one was. Got the JR soles, dovetail pattern heel, brass nails. If you look real close, there's blue stitches on this one and red stitches on the other one. Should give it a little bit of a color. I don't think the customer will notice that though. But as you can see, the uppers came out real nice. You guys remember at the beginning how it was really wrinkled and creases everywhere? Well, take a look at them now. They're almost like new pairs of shoes. All right, well, thank you for joining me. I appreciate you guys watching my videos, and if you want to leave a comment, please do. If you have any questions regarding any type of work, please email me at beatos@yahoo.com. All right, thank you so much. We'll see you again on the next one. Take care.